Hi, this is Ushio and welcome back to Angels with Scaly Wings. We are working our way through this Sebastian mod. We need 3 more endings to finish it off. And the only endings we found are the truly awful, abysmal, diabolical, violent, death and destruction endings. Everything is bad. Poor old Sebastian. He's a shadow of his former self. He's not had any good endings. We need to find these. I'm going to start over. I got a couple of ideas. I have found a little guide and I got a couple of little clues. And it seems like some of the things that you need to do, you need to pick up a certain item. One is a baton and the other one is a map. The baton I have found, it's in chapter 3, and in chapter 3 you can pick that up or leave it behind, and that gives you different options on what you can and can't do. The other item that we need to find is a map, and that map I think is actually in the main game, and I need to find out exactly where that is. I think it's when you're investigating police headquarters. So we need to find that. I need to try and remember where that is and not skip it when it comes up. But I think we're good for now, and I'm going to skip ahead and try and find some stuff. Okay, so in chapter 4 we get the opportunity to give Sebastian the map. For some reason it took me ages to find this point, but it's in chapter 4 during the investigation phase. We'll give him the map. So now we're on a route where hopefully we can get some nicer endings. There are a couple more ways to do it. One is to give him the map now, and the other one is to give him the map and the stun baton. But we're going to do that. One more thing. Yeah. I rifled through my pockets and pulled out a copy of the map. I had an idea. You remember how you told me to check out the blueprints of the old underground facility? I do, but I thought you already told me what you knew. Was there something else? I took a copy to study it more thoroughly, and I think I found another entrance. Oh. It's right in Tattoo Park, under the maintenance hatch. Where you found the bandage. Right. Didn't you also say the underground building was off limits because it was dangerous? I did, and with the guarded main entrance, it would make it a perfect hideout. It would also explain why that bloody bandage was down there in the first place. We have to tell Bryce about this immediately. I think that's a bad idea. Bryce is too impatient and might do something rash before thinking about it. We can't risk him sending an entire unit down there because it might scare Resa, if he's even down there at all. What do you suggest then? Check it out alone. You wouldn't raise as much suspicion as an entire unit. Plus, you're small and rather fast, and you could more easily hide if something should go wrong. I don't really like the sound of that. Trust me, it would be better than charging in head first, and if he's not down there, it won't waste as many people's time. Alright, I trust you, but I'm only going to check it out after I'm off the clock. Everybody expects me to be here right now. I'm not sure I know how to open the hatch either. It's easy enough. Turn the dial left, press both buttons. Got it. I'll give you a call once I've checked it out. Good luck. And play it safe, don't be a hero. Resa still has a gun. Alright, I'm a professional after all. Nice. Okay, let's get ourselves to the new stuff. Okay, we've made it to chapter 5. Let's do the Sebastian route. We've only had bad endings so far. Let's see if we can get something nicer now. I see you're still in uniform. I just got off work. Okay, so let's take your hat off if you like. Say nothing. We'll keep the hat. We'll keep the hat. Just so you know, I checked out the place you told me about. Which one? The hatch in Tattoo Park. By the looks of it, it seems an awful lot like the tunnel we found in that cave. It even ends with a similar door and a keypad. I didn't manage to get it open then, but I realised later that the code was on the map you gave me. I figured I'd try it out tomorrow. Anyway, shall we go? Sure. So here we are. Normally I'd take you to Tattoo Park, but everybody else is there, and I didn't want to overwhelm you. Bryce recommended this spot for its seclusion. I have to say it's pretty nice. It does seem pretty empty. Let's see how good the view is though. I see we didn't have these kinds of festivals back on the farm. No, we didn't. This is one of the benefits of living in a small town. To be honest, the first time this happened, I was the only one here who didn't know about the fireworks, and they frightened me a bit. It was my first week here, and I didn't know anybody. I was laying in bed, getting ready to go to sleep, with the curtains closed, and all of a sudden I heard explosions. I scrambled out of bed thinking there was some kind of emergency, and ran out onto the balcony. All I could see was a sky filled with dazzling bright lights. It was breathtaking, even though I wasn't expecting it. It turned out that was just one of the first nights, of course. You've seen those already. I promise you they're petty compared to what's going to happen tonight. Just then, the first few rockets started making their way into the sky, exploding into brilliant colours. Sebastian and I laid on the grass, watching as the night sky was painted with new hues with each passing second. Lots of fireworks. Suddenly, a terrible realisation hit me. Considering how public of an event this was, and how I was told multiple times that everyone would be watching the fireworks, now would be the best time for Resa to do anything he plans to do. Not only was the village basically deserted, but the sounds of the fireworks would also overshadow any gunshots, giving him as much security as he ever would have. As the portal had been repaired by the mysterious person I met, now was the perfect time for Resa to make his getaway, and I was the only one who knew. We gotta go. But the good part's just getting started. I know where Resa is. Are you sure? Positive, we need to get going. Where to? The portal. He's going to use the fireworks as cover for escape. Isn't the portal broken? It's a long story, but not anymore. Wait, I've got a better idea. If you think you can handle getting to the portal by yourself, I can try to come in from the building side. Sounds like a plan. Keep yourself safe though. I might be fast, but it's going to take me a while to get there, and I might stop to tip off. Maverick. Right. Bryce is at the portal. Let's hope he's okay. Agreed. With that, the two of us ran off in our own separate directions. We got our plan though, and we're going to get Maverick. Always a good option. Resa's going to get it. As I arrived at the portal, I looked around and didn't see Resa. What I did find though was a suitcase filled with dragon eggs. I cursed him for stealing from the hatchery again, and hid the suitcase behind a bush for safekeeping. And with that done, I went to the only place Resa could be hiding near here, the underground facility. Okay, we've done this. We've seen this dude. He's going to do his usual spiel. We're going to completely ignore him. And we're going to get to business. Here be Maverick. Yes. I jumped as Maverick slunk around the corner into the hallway. Resa pointed his gun at both of us in turn, not sure who to aim at. Damn you. To think I let you distract me because I thought you had a shred of humanity left. It's over, Resa. Drop the gun and surrender. Don't make things worse. Things are definitely going to get worse. We can still save humanity and the dragons. You just don't get it, do you? I've been risking my own life to save humanity for 2 weeks. Do you think I'm just going to stop now? Oh, 2 whole weeks, was it? Here's what's going to happen instead. Both of you get out of my way and lay down. If that's not good enough, I've got enough bullets to take care of you once and for all. I'm sure you know what that would feel like, don't you, big fella? Think about what you're saying, Resa. Do you really think you can do that? The last person to convince me otherwise will be my so-called colleague, who spent the time sipping champagne in their cosy apartment. Besides, this whole building with the generator came from our time and they belong to humanity. Okay, hear the administrator though. Without warning, the administrator stepped out of the hallway behind Resa. Who the fuck are you? Freeze! Unfazed, the newcomer continued to slowly approach Resa. Wanna waste your bullets on me? Go ahead. Can't stop at all. As you wish. Blam! Resa pulled the trigger, and the administrator fell to the floor with a dull thud, knocking her mask off. She is out. She is down. She is gone. Rest in peace in peace. Taking advantage of the distraction, Maverick charged in. Oh, took some hits. Ow. That was 3 shots, but Maverick couldn't clear the distance before Resa landed 3 solid hits on him, punching 3 bloody holes. In pain, Maverick keeled over and roared before Resa shot him in the head. Oh, Maverick got took out. Does that mean Resa's got 1 bullet left? Maverick, you bastard. What's 1 more body? They're all going to be dead in a couple of weeks anyway. I just saved them the suffering. Now, if you don't want to end up the same way, I suggest you step aside and... Or Sebastian, though. Get him. From somewhere behind Resa, Sebastian dashed out and struck Resa, bowling him over. In the blink of an eye, he sunk his teeth into Resa's neck, and he kept pulling the trigger well after the last bullet came out. When Sebastian finally let go, Resa wasn't moving. Sebastian got him good, but I think he might have taken a hit too. Sebastian wiped his muzzle on Resa's shirt before staring forlornly at Maverick's corpse. After looking away for a second longer, trying to discreetly wipe a tear from his eye, he turned to me. Are you alright? Are you? He shook his head. Don't worry, just give me some time. I understand. He sat down and leaned against one of the walls. What happened? I heard Maverick roar. Oh, I see. We managed to stop Resa and secure the generator, but Resa killed Maverick in the process. He didn't make it either, though. Are the two of you okay? I'll be fine, but I hadn't noticed until now, but Sebastian had taken a bullet to the torso. Though it was definitely bleeding, it didn't look like it was near anything vital. Unfortunately, that doesn't look life-threatening. Medics should be here any minute now, anyway. Before I forget, there's a suitcase with eggs in a bush near the portal. It looks like Resa had paid another visit to the hatchery. Good to know. Anyway, you've been through more than enough. I'll take it from here. Before I go, I moved over to check on Izumi. Yeah, that was a shot. She down. Her body was lifeless when I got there. Who is that? Wait a moment, is that the second murder? Do you remember when I said she's getting away? That is a flashback and a half, but yes, I do, but she's the one who pushed me away. So there was another human. I'm sorry for doubting you. No worries, I can understand how preposterous it seemed at the time. Anyway, the medics must nearly be here. How does she look? She's kinda dead. Bryce let out a sigh before letting his gaze wander back to Maverick's corpse. Gazing at Izumi, however, reminded me of something I needed to attend to. Sebastian? Bryce? Do you mind if I run out to check something? Again, you're free to go. I'll take it from here, and Sebastian will be in good claws. Thanks, I'll be right back. What are we gonna do? Head on outside. I sprinted up to the portal to check the terminal. They're gone. I pounded a fist on the edge of the terminal. Izumi must have deleted them to keep Resa from escaping, but at what cost? We nearly had it too. I sighed in defeat and made my way back to the facility, where, true to Bryce's word, a veritable troop of medics had descended. Not wanting to interfere, I sat at their entrance and waited, dismissing anyone who came to ask me if I was alright. About half an hour later, along with Bryce, they removed Sebastian and the 3 corpses from the building. When Sebastian was carried out in particular, I approached him. So that's what you meant by right back. I'm sorry, I didn't want to get in their way. Anyway, your mood seems better. Well, a lot's happened today, and I definitely lost a close friend. But I didn't lose another. The medics say Sebastian here will be back to normal in a couple of days. I nodded in agreement. Also, the generator was saved. Generator? The one Resa stole? Yeah, it's still down there. What about it? You might want to keep it safe. That box is going to save your entire species. What are you talking about? It's a long story, but there's kind of a comet coming on its way that's going to wipe everybody out if we don't deflect it. That little generator is your best hope of diverting it. That sounds pretty outlandish, but, well, nothing around here since your arrival's been normal. Don't worry, we can take care of it tomorrow. I think I could use some rest for today. Me too. Shall I escort you home? If you don't mind. Not at all. I think some company will be helpful for both of us. But don't get any crazy ideas. I don't think I'm up for much fun tonight, if you know what I mean. He gave me a grin, but I could see he was just barely holding back his tears. Yeah, it's fine, Bryce. Yeah. Anyway, is there anything you need for the night, Sebastian? I don't think so. When am I coming back to work? When you feel better, and no sooner than the doctor allows it. In that case, good night. Good night. Night, Sebi. In the days to come, I visited Sebastian at least once every day as he recovered. As promised, Bryce and I approached the council the very next day about the comets. It took evidence from the recover PDAs to convince them beyond doubt that there was a threat, but in the end they agreed to go along with my plan. Given that we'd recovered the underground facility's generator without incident, I was confident that it would work. As estimated, Sebastian was discharged only about a week later. He had a round scar from the wound that was the talk of the police force for the day. After he was off for the day, I approached him and asked if there was somewhere private we could meet. he agreed to host me in his apartment again. Hey man, how's the wound? Nice to see you again. You too. Is something wrong? You seem a little off-put. Well, I'll just start at the beginning. You remember that other human, Izumi? I suppose I didn't know her name, but I remember her nonetheless. Well, she deleted the return coordinates to my world. Why'd she do that? I'm certain it was to prevent Resa from escaping earlier. If he'd made it away with the generator, everything would be over for you. How so? Have you read the report from the council about the comet? Yeah. The underground facilities generator is at least as powerful as all of the ones in this town combined. Thanks to it, there's almost surely enough power to divert the comet. Things wouldn't look so good if it was stolen. I see. But, well, Izumi didn't foresee that we'd succeed in stopping Resa, and she's probably the only one who could possibly put the coordinates back again. So, does that mean you're stuck here? Kind of. Doesn't sound that terrible to me. People are counting on me back home though. Resa may have been a terrible criminal, but I can't ignore that he and I both had the good of our people at heart. I just hoped I've been more tasteful in my approach. Well, it's unfortunate. Without the coordinates, you can't go back and save them, right? Or am I overlooking something? There is something. Before confronting Resa, Izumi added coordinates that would allow me to go back to the day of my arrival. Wait. You mean you can travel through time with the portal? You kinda can, yeah. This hasn't been our first attempt. Izumi and me. I honestly can't tell you how many times we've tried. It's all a blur to me. I think I understand. Does that mean you're leaving? I have to. I owe it to my people. For what it's worth, I'll be staying here until the comet passes though, just to be sure. Which doesn't seem wise. What do you mean? If this plan fails, I'm almost certain it won't. I know, but if it fails, you'll never get a second chance. You should definitely go before there's any risk of the portal being destroyed. Before you go though, could I ask you a favour? What's up? I know you haven't gotten along well with Maverick, it wasn't really a secret, but next time, if he's going to be alive again, could you please save him? I'll try my best. Thanks. Best of luck. I'm rooting for you. Okay, we made it to a new end. Wow. So, Maverick died, Izumi died, Resa died, and we have to try again. There is a better ending. So, in this route, I gave him the map. So Sebastian got the map, he was able to work his way around the back. But there's also the stun baton. So if I get that, I'll charge that thing up. I think I can give that to Sebastian as well. And maybe he'll have a weapon when it comes to fighting Resa. That would be really nice, but we'll have to see how that goes. Okay, perfect. The hat is now off. I just hope we don't need the flashlight. Okay, so we checked out the place. We've given him the map. Wait a second. I just realised I still got this thing. I found the stun baton on my person and handed it over to Sebastian. Did you take that from the underground facility? I might have. Well, we didn't know if we were going to run into something nasty or not, and I'd forgotten about it since then. I see. Still, it might prove useful to us now. I certainly hope so. Okay, as we were about to depart, I stopped in my tracks, recalling vague promises of a favour. My hesitation must have been obvious to Sebastian. Maverick. What's wrong? One last thing. You know how confrontational Maverick is? I do. I don't know how, but you need to convince him not to charge in. Narrow hallways, big dragon, and Resa's gone aren't going to end well for him. Well, it won't be easy. You know how impulsive he is. Resa's been his quarry for weeks now. I know, I don't know how to do it myself, but you have to tell him. It's for his own good. I'll try. We gotta save Maverick. We gotta save Maverick. Okay, but Sebastian is here with no map. Let's go on in. Resa, shut up. What are you gonna do? You can't stop me. Oh, here come the gun. He pulled out his gun and pointed it at me. Do not. Wait, can't we just talk about this? We just did. But what about... Uh-oh. Hey, you're just trying to distract me, aren't you? What? No, I swear I'm not. Shut up. Oh god, I turned to run away from Resa as he raised his gun at me again, but I didn't make it far before a bullet punched through my leg. I collapsed and squirmed in pain. What, you shot me? Dude. Why though? Okay, he out of there. With me out of the way, Reza went over to the box containing the generator and picked it up. He made his way to the exit as quickly as he could, lugging the heavy load. As I tried not to move too much, it was a bit difficult to cover my wound, but I eventually squirmed around enough to apply pressure. I was still wincing in pain and breathing heavily, wondering if anybody else had heard the gunshot. To his credit, I guess Maverick didn't just charge in. I know, right? Maverick actually formulated a plan for once. All in all, I think he's doing better than you. Didn't I tell you to keep yourself safe? I know, I got shot, but I should be fine. It's a bit unsympathetic. Man, Reza just left, and he's probably on his way out. We can't let him escape. There's an ambush waiting for him at the entrance, but he still has that weapon, right? Right. Can you hold out for a couple more minutes alone? I've kind of got a plan. I think I can. Good. I'll be back in a moment. Try not to get shot again, alright? Very funny. Sebastian ran by me with unexpected speed. I noticed as he turned the corner that he was still carrying the stun baton I gave him. In the distance I heard a couple of gunshots and silence. Fearing the worst, I pushed myself up and limped to the corner before collapsing again from the pain. As I was considering trying to do the same thing again, a familiar face appeared from toward the entrance. Did I tell you to wait right there? No, you just told me not to get shot. Everyone okay? Not perfect, but I think so. Maverick took a couple of bullets. I guess he couldn't resist trying to jump in after all. But that afforded me the opportunity to get Reza with this. He brandished the stun baton I gave him earlier. It was bent well enough that it wasn't closing, with a notable dent near the shock end. You know, you only had to touch him with that, not beat him senseless, right? Adrenaline's a hell of a drug. And besides, it worked. Did you get the generator? You mean the box? Reza dropped it, but it looks fine otherwise. I slumped against the wall in relief, letting out an enormous sigh. You don't know how many lives you just saved. By capturing Reza. Yes, but also by getting the generator. Now we can stop the comet. The what now? Don't worry about it right now. We can take care of that tomorrow. There's time now. Right. Well, one crisis at a time. I have to go make sure Reza's still nice and secure. It'd be a shame to lose track of him now. Before you go though, do you think you could grab me a bandage? I don't have any on me. There should be a first aid kit in one of the rooms. Fair point. I'll go check. Sebastian went from room to room until he came out of one holding a large red box. This one looks like a bandage. If you don't mind though, I think Maverick will need a couple of these. Last I checked, the medics haven't come in. I only need one. Go ahead and play doctor with the rest. Oh, alright. I'll be back in a moment anyway. This time, do you think you could just stay here? No promises. I wasn't sure, but I think Sebastian may have just rolled his eyes just before taking off at a fast clip with the remainder of the kit. As I was patching myself up, I heard slow footsteps approaching from further in the building. It didn't take me a moment to recognise the dull clunk of those boots. Where you been, Izumi? Well done. I think you may have given the dragons a chance of survival. It doesn't answer my question. You didn't need my help. You do know that I've been shot, right? Of course. You know I've been shot many times before you, right? Fine. Aside from that, I say you did great. But there's one more problem, and I know you're not going to like it. You're not supposed to be alive in this timeline. What do you mean? This is one of the timelines where you're murdered for the PDAs that you were supposed to bring to the world. Your colleagues sent someone rather unfriendly instead. When you came through the portal using what I can only assume were emergency coordinates I programmed for you, I dispatched her so you could fulfill our mission. It would have rather serious consequences if you showed up back at your home well after you've been murdered, especially since she's dead now too. I doubt that's something that could be overlooked for a diplomatic relation, especially one this risky. Your reappearance would be at least suspect, and probably be considered some kind of failed plot to cover up the killing. What am I supposed to do then? First and foremost, your work isn't done here. There's still a comment on the way, and you're going to need to tell the council about it. As for the other quandary, leave that one to me. I've got an idea, and I'll let you know if it works in a few days. Do you need any help? Nothing you could help me with. You'll be busy arranging to deflect a comet. If you find yourself with the spare time, I recommend you spend it enjoying yourself. See you soon. Izumi, why are you such a hard case? Why you gotta be like this? She left without giving me any chance to come up with a response. As I was still thinking of what her plan might entail though, Sebastian came back as promised. So you took my advice this time, I see. Can you move on your own? I could use a crutch. Alright. Sebastian gently and slowly helped me up to my feet. Pain shot up my injured leg, and I left it suspended limply, hopping along as he steadied me. I could tell that Sebastian was getting impatient with that though. Here, put your arms around my neck and throw yourself over me if you can. He got low, and with a little effort, I managed to balance myself on his back. With surprising ease, Sebastian got back up and sped along at what I imagined was his usual rate, which was enough to batter me with a decent breeze. You know, if that didn't work as well as it did, I'd say that was a pretty foolish plan. Thanks to the vote of confidence. Sebastian slipped out from underneath me, depositing me near Maverick. You know, I had my doubts about you, dude, but I have to say, good planning with the ambush. And I'm not impulsive. You told him I said that. Credit where credit's due. Well, I didn't want to be mean about it. You're probably right to have tried. If Sebastian hadn't told me to try and be clever, I'd probably have a few more holes in my hide. So, I'm sorry to have doubted you. That was some good work. But I can hope you understand why I didn't trust you at first. Especially given my first experience. I understand. In your place, I probably would have done the same thing. Apology accepted. Anyway, Sebastian, if you look over there. I gestured toward the bush where I had stashed the suitcase of eggs. Sure enough, after fumbling through the foliage for a little bit, Sebastian came back with the case, popping it open in front of Maverick and me. Eggs. That bastard. Resa left them near the portal. I figured it was best to hide them from him, so he didn't have an opportunity to take them if he escaped. Speaking of whom, where is he? After convincing me not to rip him apart, Bryce slapped the weapon away and cuffed him. We should probably secure that then. Good point. Sebastian looked around for a while before gingerly lifting a revolver from the ground. Just as he exclaimed that he'd found it, we heard the noise of a couple of flyers carrying bulky bounds touching down nearby. Oh, they're the medics. After checking us both up and down and confirming what we already knew, that our injuries weren't that bad, the medics nonetheless insisted on taking us to the local hospital to remove the bullies. For Maverick, the operation was not quite mundane, but already practiced, as it wasn't the first time. For me though, not yet comfortable with my anatomy, I was subject only to local anaesthesia, and had to give my guidance throughout the operation. I was already pretty squeamish, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little nauseous. The surgeons, though mostly runners, seemed thrilled to operate on a real human. I did have to tell each one in turn that not having a tail was normal, and that some coverings for modesty were greatly appreciated. The doctors took some of the blood and determined compatibility. Fortunately for me, our blood types were very similar, which surprised me as a biologist. Of course, I already knew this from Anna's work. To their credit, an overabundance of caution meant I stayed at the hospital for a little longer than was probably necessary. My wounds already well healed. They discharged me about a week later. During that week, I had a personal audience with Emra, as well as the Minister of Science, to discuss the impending impact and plans for diverting the comet. It took the recovered PDAs to convince them, but they agreed to put everything in motion. In the meantime, I couldn't help but spend the nights wondering what Izumi had planned. Sebastian visited me every now and then when his work allowed it. It was nice to see that he was as dependable as ever. On one of his visits, he told me that the case was basically closed. Aside from compelling evidence, Resa confessed its actions. Given how stubborn he was, I didn't expect anything different, nor was I surprised when Sebastian told me he was entirely unrepentant. He also told me the police wanted to launch further investigations into the underground facility, but those plans were cut short by both the safety risk and the somewhat clandestine need for people to prepare the comet's diversion. But business talk was the minority at the time. We spent most of the evenings of my recovery chatting, playing card games, and catching up with the changes in the outside world, of which there were many. On the day of my discharge, Sebastian was patiently waiting in front of the hospital. It was then I discovered that I wasn't discharged alone. Maverick had been kept for a long while too, to study the effects of gun wounds. He'd apparently begrudgingly agreed to this on Bryce's request, since his return to the Force wasn't urgent. After a gruff exchange with Maverick, Sebastian brought me back to my apartment. He insisted on staying the night, just to make sure I was alright and that I wasn't straining myself alone. To be honest, I appreciated the company in any case. So, home sweet home. A thin layer of dust had settled over everything, whisked up by the wind from the opening door. Sebastian's smile flickered with concern for a moment, until he saw that I noticed. "Why don't you get comfortable? I'll make you something to eat." "I've been staying in bed for about a week. It's actually more comfortable for me to stand and move about." "Suit yourself, just don't strain yourself too badly. The doctor said to take it slow." "No offence, but I don't think I'm going to take it that slowly. Don't worry, I'm not going to be sprinting around anytime soon. Feel free to make whatever you can find, and take what you want for yourself too." "Sounds good." Sebastian disappeared into the kitchen and began surveying my supplies. "Oh goodness, why do you have all this spoiled produce?" "I was in the hospital for a week, man." "This looks a lot older than just a week. Have you even cleaned this since you arrived here?" "That might not have been among my priorities." Although I couldn't see him, I could tell Sebastian was making swift work of throwing out large things. "Almost the only thing which might still be good around here is this." Sebastian held up a wine bottle. "It's a pretty cheap bottle though." "Not that I mind. Didn't even know it was there." "You didn't get any of this?" "No, the apartment came stocked for me." "By who? I would have expected you to know what half of that was, much less whether it was still edible or how to safely prepare it." "I'm not certain, but I'm guessing it was Remy. I think it was, yeah." "The klutzy librarian? Harsh. He's not that bad, he just needs some practice." "He's actually quite the nice person if you get to know him." "I believe you, but you should know he's the subject of some nasty rumours." "I know, but you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and he's a librarian." "I know, but you know how the guys are." "Yeah." "Anyway, I got some ingredients prepared. Shouldn't take long." "Sounds good." While Sebastian was busy working on dinner, I noticed the door quietly opening. Izumi strode in silently and shut the door just as quietly. Anticipating this meeting for a while, I kept a hushed tone as I addressed her. "This isn't a good time. I've got a visitor." "What do you mean you have a visitor?" Although that was still in a whisper, there was a difference I couldn't quite put a finger on. "Well, sorry about the timing, but I couldn't find you all last week, so has to be now." "Are you talking to me?" "I'm just listening to messages. I might have to make a call too." "Odd. Didn't hear the answering machine." "Who's this?" "That's gonna take a while to explain. Suffice to say, I didn't figure out the comet thing alone." "That doesn't answer my question." "Right. Sebastian, meet Izumi." "Actually, not quite." "Wait, what now?" "My patience is running thin. What's your business here?" "Oh, come on, Sebi. You wouldn't attack your best friend, would ya?" "What?" The intruder didn't whisper that last line at all, and I recognised that their voice wasn't Izmi's well beyond a doubt. Rather, sounded like mine. Perhaps this will help. As the administrator lowered their mask, it was as if I was looking at a mirror. It was my face under that shawl. "For your sake, I'll put the mask back on. It must be weird looking at yourself without it, because I know it's weird for me." "What are you doing here?" More importantly, how is this even possible? Well, to try and keep it to the short version, I'll just say 2 words: time travel. "How is that possible?" The portal can do more than just connect points in space. It can connect points in time too, including itself in the past and future. I know it sounds unbelievable, but at this point, both of us, both of me, have done this before. There wouldn't be 2 of us if we couldn't. Sebastian just kept staring in the distance, thinking. It looked like this was going to take a moment to sink in. To the question of my business here though, the short answer is that I have an offer for Ushio. "What kind of offer?" "Simple one. Stay or leave." "What?" "As you're aware, Izmi's going to leave this timeline this evening." "No, I wasn't aware of that. She was going to contact me." "Right, she must have had the same difficulty I did getting to you. Where were you?" "Hospital." "Oh, of course. Well, there wasn't a chance that she was going to get a private conversation with you there, even if she did know about it. Anyway, I digress. Izmi's leaving this evening. She knows how hellbent we are on saving humanity too, so one of us has to come along. Not in the least because there can't be two of us here. Now, I'm from yet another timeline where things went much worse. You succeeded where I failed, and because of that, I'm going to leave the choice up to you. If you want to stay, I'll be leaving with Izumi. You can stay here and reap what you've sown. If you want to leave, I'll take your place here. Seemed a little bit unfair, not only for Ushio, I mean this one here, but for me as well. Not really. Both of us share the same memories. In my timeline, I was together with you as well, until... well, let's not talk about that. There's close to no difference between the two of us, except perhaps how many times we've had to go back in time to fix our mistakes. And even then, I honestly don't know who's winning. I don't even know how many times I've done it myself. But that's besides the point. You need to choose. Izumi made it clear that this is happening tonight. Sebastian was staring at me with a confused, wide-eyed expression. Do I go or do I stay? So obviously we're near the end of this story, and obviously each of these options are going to give us a different ending. So if we go, it's obviously not going to be as good. So we're going to do this one first, and then we will choose the stay option. So we're going to go. Yeah, I'll do it. Sebastian's still looking at me, looking visibly saddened. Sebi, it's still my duty to ensure humanity gets their generators as well. The people back home depend on me, and I can't just abandon them. I know, but why can't you just let the other you go? Because it's the easy way out. I can't run away from my responsibilities. I understand. Without another word, Sebastian lowered his head and wiped a tear off his face. Don't worry, Sebi. I promise you won't notice a difference. Sebastian looked hopefully over at the administrator, the other me, as I quietly stood up and moved over to the door. Goodbye, Sebi, until I meet you again in the next timeline. Oh, we are out of here. I guess Izumi's waiting for us. I see you made your decision. I'm honestly a little surprised that you chose to come instead. Did the other you at least tell you about the plan? What plan's that? Izumi, despite her composure, sighed quite forcibly. After shaking her head, she handed me Reza's gun. Or rather, something that looked like Reza's gun. On closer inspection, it seemed to have some modifications. What's this about? The other you had an idea about an ally that might come in handy. Personally, I think it's both foolish and reckless with regard to my own planning, but it could be worth a try. The only reason I'm entertaining the idea at all is because it saves one more dragon. Izumi turned and made her way to the console, preparing the portal. Wordlessly, Izumi joined me on the portal's platform as we made our way back to the past. One more time. Okay, we made it. Okay. That's an intriguing ending. Not sure what to make about it. That one more dragon that we're gonna save. Wait, there's more here. So the other you never did tell me. Who exactly is this Miles? Sebastian's... and oh wow, they go back to rescue Miles? Maverick's brother? Wow, okay. We'll go for one more ending. Here we are. We've seen what happens when we go. This time, we're going to be selfish. We're going to stay with Sebastian. It's what we want to do. I'm staying. Sebastian broke eye contact with me and let out a heaving sigh of relief. Then it's decided. With that said, the administrator, the other me, made it to the door. Good luck. You've earned your peace. I moved over to the couch and sat down for the first time since the hospital. That was unexpected. I'd say you made the right choice. Alright, I've got cooking. Don't let it burn. The rest of the evening was mostly uneventful. Sebastian and I ate our meals together, enjoying as much as we could the cheap wine that he found. It was no fine dining, but it still spoke of how good a cook he was. For the little bit of cured beet, old cheese and pasta available, it was quite satisfying. The wine, though, was something we both criticised, and laughed together in our criticisms. So first things first for tomorrow. You gotta go get some groceries. Yeah, that would be smart. I hope they haven't cancelled my government funding yet, though. Why would they do that? Wait. How did you fail to save humanity again? Well, it's kind of an odd story, but, Izumi, The other human you kinda heard talk of, she deleted the coordinates. But why? It kept Reza from escaping mostly. So she also sabotaged the portal? No, she told me she didn't. Still don't know who that was, to be honest. Well, that means you're stuck here. Yeah, it does. No more diplomatic mission. No more government-funded groceries. Even if she put them back in, which she could have before I left, it still wouldn't have worked out. Why? Apparently, this time, some other human was supposed to deliver the PDAs because I was murdered. You what? Yeah, I don't know much about the other human that they sent, except that Izumi didn't like her. And when I appeared in this last timeline, apparently Izumi had killed her. I see. Why didn't you tell me about this sooner? Murder's kind of a big deal? Oh, I only found out after being shot. You've had a week since then. Would you have even believed me if I told you all of this before now? Fair. So, what are we going to do about this? I say... I burped softly. Sebastian gave me a look. We live and let live. And excuse me. Even then, what would you tell the others? My time-travelling friend told me that there was a murder in the past, but we don't know where the body is. Also, the murderer just escaped into another timeline. All in all, she also murdered Reza so many more times. What? You know, in different times? This is confusing and strange and concerning. Maybe you're right. Maybe we just shouldn't think about this anymore. It's not like we can do much about it anyway. I don't know about you, Sebi, but I feel pretty tired. I'm not surprised. You've had more than your fair share of that wine. Yeah. I think I'm going to go lay down. I went over to my bed, and Sebastian followed me closely along the way, ready to catch me if I fell. I swayed greatly, but made it to the bed in one piece. I haphazardly removed my clothing and slipped under the covers. As I heard the flick of a light switch, I was lost in darkness. The last thing I remember feeling was Sebastian taking his place on the other side of the bed. I fell asleep rapidly. I'm not sure if that was my exhaustion, the wine, or even the comfort of being home for the first time in a while. But as I thought about it more, the prospect of exhaustion seemed stranger and stranger. I'd been in the hospital for about a week. Why was I tired? As I dwelt further on that, I felt a strange stinging pain in my head. It felt like I was burning from the inside out. Eventually, in my tortured dreams, scenes started playing out in front of me, scenes that felt oddly real. I remembered going with Anna to see the fireworks and taking her to the portal. I confronted Reza before Maverick, and Anna came in as well. I saw Maverick charge at Reza and slump after being shot many times. Then Anna jumped in front of me and saved me from Reza's bullets, burning him alive before she bled to death herself. A similar scene played before me, with Anna again. This time, after Maverick was gunned down, she pushed me out of harm's way and cut Reza's throat with her claw. We secured the generator and saved the dragons, but Anna died of her cancer only a short while later. Adine was somebody else that took to the portal on the night of the fireworks. She wasn't much of a fighter, but brought Maverick with her. Reza executed him and then shot Adine before making his escape. Her wounds weren't serious, but the stolen generator doomed her civilization. I remember trying the same thing again, but giving her a map of the facility. That time, Maverick killed Reza before he had the chance to respond, and the generator was safe. But the administrator like this time was me, and I had already deleted the coordinates, never able to return to my home. Okay, so this is us remembering all of the endings from the main game. So there's a whole load of like PTSD, all the old memories flooding back from all the timelines into us. The Chief of Police, Bryce, was also sent with me to the portal. He was shot multiple times when he confronted Reza, but succumbed to the explosion of the generator when Reza hit it with a stray bullet. Outside, Maverick dispatched him quickly enough, and may have done the same to me, if it wasn't for the emergency coordinates. Later, I tried to pull Maverick over to my side. By sheer luck, Bryce survived as the generator exploded, as Maverick and I dug him out of the rubble. But Reza never admitted to the killings, while Izumi did, and Maverick showed her no mercy. In a fit of anger myself, I killed him with Reza's gun. Without the generator, Bryce knew the chances of survival were bleak, so I went on to try again. At one point, I brought Lorem, the courier, to the portal. Maverick and Lorem confronted Reza, but Reza caused everyone to scramble when he shot at me and hit the generator instead. Resa confronted me at gunpoint and told me that he'd been conspiring with humanity before Maverick startled and apprehended him. But I remember getting shot just then. It felt bad, incredibly bad. Fortunately, the memory of the pain wasn't that long. The next time I tried to save Lorem, they gave me Ipsum's Ixamen sphere, which I tossed at Reza before he could shoot at me. The impact caused Reza to bend his gun, rendering it useless, and we brawled each other all the way out to the portal, where I sent him back with me. Izumi did him in then. I saw Remy as we were enjoying the fireworks, when I remembered where Reza was. Maverick and Remy confronted Reza. Remy was wounded, but Reza fatally shot Maverick when he was bitten. After taking a bullet myself, I was able to limp out in time to see Reza using the portal to return. After that point, humanity sent soldiers to rescue me, but left me as a traitor in my home when they migrated en masse to the Dragon's World and took it over by force, only to be eliminated altogether by the comet that they didn't know about. Another time with Remy, I remembered that I reintroduced him to Adine. That time, when Reza ran for the portal, Vara, the orphan they'd taken the liking to, had attacked Reza herself. Despite my efforts, with my own wounds, I couldn't stop Reza from shooting her in the head. But she held him off long enough that Izumi could take him down. In the battle though, she suffered injuries that would be her own undoing. That's a lot to remember and go through. I awoke from my nightmares to find the dull remnants of throbbing pain in my head. As I got up and found Sebastian already departed from the bed, I could tell that my bedding was soaked in sweat. Composing myself, I threw on the bare minimum of clothing and made my way to the bathroom. I hopped into the shower and after puzzling over the valves a bit, got the water to a reasonable temperature. As I let the water wash off the stale sweat, I grumbled a bit when I noticed there was still no shampoo. I scrubbed myself down as best as I could with a body wash twice in a row. Afterward, I patted myself dry with an almost unmanageably large towel. Once I felt adequately dry, I threw my clothes back on and stepped back out. Sebastian was already outside, gently sipping coffee from a delicately held mug. "You're already looking better." "What do you mean?" "Well, you looked horrible when I saw you this morning. You looked really pale." "I had a really bad night, I guess." "Was it related to any of that time travelling stuff from yesterday?" "I think it was actually. Yeah, we got like everything at once. Whatever that was, I feel like my dreams had every one of my past attempts, including ones I don't think I lived through." "Was it really that bad?" "Yeah, it kinda was." "Do you want to talk about it?" "Not really. For now, I'd rather keep quiet about it." "Who knows, maybe I'll write a book about it at some point." "Hey, it's not a bad idea, if it lets you work through the memories." "And do you want some coffee? It's just about the only thing left in your kitchen now." "That doesn't sound half bad, and we should do that grocery run soon." "Wait, should you be at work?" "Bryce gave me the day off to look after you." "What about Maverick?" "I'm pretty sure he got the day off too." "I meant who's looking after him." "I'm not sure Maverick would let anyone look after him." "Maybe we should stop by then, just to be sure." "That could be done, right after the grocery run even." "To be honest, I don't think I ever expected you to propose that." We finished our coffee after a while and left to get groceries. As we stepped into the grocery store, we both noticed Maverick paying Zhong, with a couple of bags piled in a basket in front of him. "Did you find everything you need?" "Yeah, as usual." "Good to know." "Not to pry, but how are you holding up?" "Fine. Better than last time, I guess, since I can work again." "Good to hear." "How's your kid?" "He's doing alright. I'm going on the trip with him pretty soon, and he's pretty excited about it." Picking up the basket handle with his maw, he turned around. In doing so, his gaze met mine and Sebastian's. With what looked like a fleeting exasperation, he turned around to set the bags back on the counter. "Hey Sebastian, Ushio." "Hey Maverick, kinda surprising to see you of all people here." "Hey Maverick." "So, is this an ambush, or is Ushio recovered enough to get groceries too?" "We're just getting some groceries, yeah. I may have cleaned out the pantry last night. It was well beyond derelict." "I mean, we're still gonna ambush you, but it was supposed to be after this." "What do you want?" "I wanted to thank you. If it weren't for you during my first day here, I wouldn't have taken that bullet, and it would have been over for me." "So you want to thank me for hitting you with my tail?" As my memory returned, I reflexively put my hands in front of my chest. Maybe not that part, but getting hit by your tail is better than getting hit by a bullet. Really, Maverick, thank you. Without your diligence, none of this would have been possible. Which is to say, I owe you. No, that's just my job. And while I appreciate the offer, don't worry about it. Now, if you don't mind... He bit down on the handle of the basket and made his way out of the door. Considering he'd not long ago suspected you of being an accomplice, I think that went pretty well. I picked up a basket, and Sebastian and I went from aisle to aisle browsing the wares. Every now and then, Sebastian would pick up a fruit and show it to me, asking if I knew what it was or how to prepare it. More often than not, the answer was no, and he put it back. After looking through nearly the entire grocery, we walked up to the counter. Hey man, find everything you need? I think so. It might have been a good idea to make a list first though. Well, if anything's missing, you can always come right on back. Since the council's taking care of your bills, you're all set. I'll just bag that for you. Do you still have that card though? I just need it for the records. Sure, one moment. I fumbled around my pockets before nervously giving the card to Zhong. Are we out of a job? Do we have no money? In one swift practice motion, he took it, held it over the reader until it beeped, and handed it back to me. When I went back to take it, however, he leaned in and lowered his voice. Not to be rude, but it's a bit of a well-kept secret that you were hospitalised too. I only know it from Bryce. I guess I should have expected that, but I'm not sure it's going to stay that way for long. Details of what Resa did will be coming out at some point, right? I wouldn't be so sure about that. How so? First and foremost, it wouldn't reflect well on your kind. I definitely believe you're here with the best of intentions, especially now, but others might not take as kindly to your presence. I'm guessing the council might not want to tarnish your reputation, or worse, endanger you. Not to mention this whole thing is devastating to all the dragons who believe in the creation myth. I see. But wouldn't that be unfair to the victims of his crimes? They want justice, and justice is what they'll get. I just think the council is cognizant of making a big show of it though. Anyway, don't take it personally that I haven't asked how you're healing up. I assume it's alright if you're here right now. That's a safe assumption. The doctors did a great job. Good to hear. He leaned back and returned to his normal tone of voice. Anyway, you're all set. Have a good day. Thanks, you too, Zhong. We grabbed the bags and turned toward the exit. After that, we made our way home. Got them snacks and shopping. Sebastian took the bags into the kitchen and got to work restocking the shelves. I was about to help when the doorbell rang. Who this? Hello? Emera? Hey. Hello, Minister Emera. Can I come in? I feel I should mention this is a business meeting, Ambassador. I assumed as much, but yes, please come on in. She walked in and assumed an uncomfortable position on my couch. At about that time, Sebastian knocked a pan down. You got visitors? Just one. Everything all right in there, Sebastian? Yeah, sorry. Oh, greetings, officer. Sebastian poked his head through the doorway for long enough to recognise our guest. Hey, Minister, I'll be just a moment. No need, doesn't concern you, but I don't mind you knowing. Very well. Sebastian disappeared and resumed tidying in the kitchen. So, what's the business? First of all, I hope your stay at the hospital was exceptional. That it was. The doctors really did their best. It was just a little odd to have to help them out, but I understand the circumstances were unusual. The staff are quite nice too. I've got no complaints. Even the food was good, which is pretty unusual where I come from. Good to hear. We spared no expense. Now, for the next matter. You have our sincere thanks for helping out with the Resa issue, as well as organising a plan for the comet problem. Just doing my job. Glad to be of service. Thanks for recognising my hard work. Glad to be of service. I hope I haven't understated how important your service was to us. It's for that reason I want to award you with a medal on our behalf. It symbolises our appreciation of your efforts. Normally, we'd have a public ceremony where you and the police who helped would be venerated, but, well, the acts of your colleague have to be handled with the utmost care while this diplomatic relationship is getting underway. It speaks volumes to your dedication that we still consider your kind a viable partner after his deeds. Which brings me to the last order of business. while you were hospitalized, we launched an investigation on the underground facility at the portal. While we didn't get far into the underground facility due to safety concerns, one of our team couldn't help but notice that the portal is missing coordinates back to your world. Are you saying that you can't return? Unfortunately, it would seem so. And, as much as this saddens me, we know of no way to re-establish contact, which jeopardizes your entire diplomatic mission. I was hoping, as bleak as this sounds, that you might have enough knowledge of the portal to restore the connection. I'm sorry, but I have to disappoint you. I know very little about the portal myself. I could study it, but it could take an entire lifetime to understand how it works, let alone to figure out how to reconnect it reliably. I understand. We have our best and brightest working on doing the same thing, if you're willing to join them. I doubt to have any expertise that they don't already have, and to be honest, by the time it's fixed, it might already be too late. Those generators are humanity's last hope, if they don't get them. Yes, I remember. This is truly unfortunate. I wish there was more we could do to repay our debt. Alas, it is what it is. And it also means we have to discuss longer-term arrangements. For your sake, I think you've earned this apartment, but while your diplomatic mission's suspended, we cannot fund your every activity. I'm sure we could do so for a bit longer, but it's only a matter of time before someone lodges a complaint with us regarding your expenditures. I never really did buy that much, you know. I'm well aware, but you know how ungenerous some people can be. So I'll need an income, a job. From the kitchen, Sebastian called out, to both our surprises. If the minister doesn't mind, I'm sure you could find a spot in the police force. Sounds like a good plan, actually. Thanks, Sebby. I heard a hard clunk from the kitchen, as if he'd run into something. Before I could ask if he was alright though, Emma resumed. I've got no reservations against whatever you choose to do here, as long as you don't mind living by our rules. I'll make sure you receive the necessary paperwork for your status in short order. For your troubles, it would be remiss of us not to admit you as a citizen of our own during your time of need. I'm grateful for your help. It's the least we could do. That's all the business I have for now. Did you have anything else to bring me? Actually, I do, but it's more of a question of my own well-being than anything else. Do you know where I could get some well-fitting clothing? That should not be a challenge. There are coverings for dragons after all. I'll see if I can't persuade their manufacturers to contact you on our behalf. Of course, the sizing may be of concern, but I'm not qualified to speculate on behalf of such matters. Let me know if you could think of anything else. You may be the only human in our world, but you deserve to be treated like a most decorated dragon. You've earned it. If that's all, I'll see myself out. I think that's it. Thanks again. I'll get the door. Thank you. I sighed. I knew it was going to happen, but I guess it had to happen now. As I plopped myself back down on the couch, Sebastian came out of the kitchen, rubbing a spot on his head. You okay? What happened? Nothing. I just hit my head on a cupboard. Anyway, sounds like you need to find a job. Sounds like there's paperwork to worry about before that happens. True. Don't worry, whatever you choose to do, I got your back. Gonna get a job. A couple of days later, I received a call from the Ministry of Science. Their scientists had confirmed that the comet's trajectory was nominal, and they'd succeeded in deflecting it enough to miss. 2 days later, the comet passed the Earth, coming close enough to be dramatically visible to the naked eye. To all the other dragons, it was a spectacle to behold. To me, it was a crisis only narrowly averted. The day after that, Emma called me down to the ministry offices. Once I entered, I noticed that Sebastian, Bryce and Maverick were also waiting. It didn't take much of a leap of imagination to realise that this was a ceremony. Quietly, in Emma's own office, each of us was given a medal, a certificate of our deeds, and a brief speech of recognition. After the lauding had ended, Emma quietly reminded us that Resa's case was still ongoing, so we shouldn't wear these in public quite yet, lest we had to answer some difficult questions. As an added present, Emma asked me to stay as the others left, and had her assistant present me with the nearly thumb-thick stack of paperwork to fill out. Without exaggeration, it took literally the rest of the day to fill it out entirely. The tendons in my hand were sore. I must have written my name at least 100 times. It didn't help much that the form wasn't made for someone not of this world and with a different calendar. After finishing the paperwork and dropping it off, I went to the apartment, which was now my new home. and by that time it was already dark. The next day, I applied to work at the local police department. Bryce hired me on the spot, provided I could survive some field training. It was starkly apparent that with my physique, I was best suited to be a detective or an office worker. Nonetheless, after a heated debate behind closed doors, Bryce thought it was best I kept Resa's gun around, saying it might be the only real defence I had, if worst came to worst. A few months passed, and winter came. Thanks to the coverings provided by the company of Emira's recommendation, the cold was bearable. They were at best awkward in their fit, but they did their jobs well enough, and looked reasonably well put together all the while. As the solstice crept closer, so too did the holidays surrounding it. Glad you made it. Hey Sebi. Now, far be it from me to refuse an invitation for dinner, but you seemed really coy this time. Is there a special occasion? Well, I thought it might be nice for you to have some company during the holidays, instead of being all alone. Appreciate that, man. Just so you know, it won't be just the two of us either. My parents are coming over for dinner. Oh, the ones who still don't know you have a mate. I was just getting to that. They're coming over too. What's the worst that could happen? They tried to hook the two of us up. Okay, I guess you're right. Huh? Doorbell's gone. That's probably them. You ready? As much as I'll ever be. Okay, so we were just about to get introduced to Sebastian's parents, and that is the end of the Sebastian mod. There's lots and lots of different endings. Some quite heavy trauma goes on, but we definitely got through it and we had a good time. I hope you enjoyed this one. Sebastian's ending. S. We got the S ending, the special best ending. And you've seen endings S, A, B, C and D. We got all of them. Thank you for playing. Nice. Clearance check passed. Authorization granted. What is this? Loading file. You have 1 new messages. From user Omega 5 to everyone. Get out of here quickly and quietly. Most importantly, quietly. They're awake. End message. No other messages. What was in there? Oh, spooky, spooky. But Sebastian has been added to the title screen. Nice work. Okay, that is it for now. We've done a Sebastian mod. And we will hopefully be doing another one very soon. This is Usho signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.